Welcome to the LHS SIL Introduction to CAD and 3D Printing video. This video will show you the basics of creating a 3D model that you can later print using Makerbot 3D printer. Here we have opened up the 2014 version of Autodesk Inventor, a computer-aided design package installed on the PCs in the SIL. To start, click the New button. A dialog box will appear asking what type of part you'd like to create. Select standard.ipt, as we will just be creating a standard solid model. Then click Create. This will create a blank 3D space. The first step to creating a 3D model is always creating a 2D sketch. From the 2D sketch, we will use the extrude command to add a third dimension to the two-dimensional sketch. Let's start by clicking the Create 2D Sketch button. 3 planes will appear, prompting you to choose one to create the 2D sketch on. Select any of the planes. Now we are in 2D sketch mode. You'll notice the icons have changed in the top toolbar to reflect this. In sketch mode, you'll mostly use lines, circles, arcs, or rectangles. Let's click the rectangle button. Left-click on the center point, also known as the origin, and drag the rectangle away from that point. One thing that you'll notice while creating the rectangle are that dimensions show up. When creating a 2D sketch, it's important to add dimensions to all possible lines. Doing this constrains the sketch in 2D space. Left-click again to create the rectangle sketch. Notice how I can left-click and drag this line of the rectangle and it moves. This is because we have not added a dimensional constraint to the line. Let's add a few dimensions by clicking the Dimension button in the top toolbar. Click the top line of the rectangle sketch and enter your dimension. Let's say an inch. Notice how the rectangle's line snaps to be exactly an inch long after adding that dimension. Let's do the same for the opposite side and also make it an inch long. Now we have dimensioned both sides, but notice if we left click and drag on one of the lines, we can still move the square. This means the sketch is not fully constrained yet. Our only fixed point in space right now is our yellow origin point. Let's add a coincident constraint with the corner of our square, which will tell the 2 points to be right on top of each other. Click the Coincident Constraint button, click on the bottom corner of the square, and then click on the origin point. The sketch is now fully constrained, which you can see by all the lines turning purple. At this point, our sketch is complete. Click the Finish Sketch button, which will take us back to the 3D space, and we can see the 2D sketch now from a 3D view. Now let's turn the 2D sketch into a 3D model. Click the Extrude button. Inventor will automatically find the sketch profile and show you a preview. Let's change the distance to 0.125 or 1/8 of an inch. Click OK and you'll have your first 3D model. Now let's do one more sketch on the top profile of the object. Click Create 2D Sketch and select the top face of the 3D model. Click Rectangle again and create a smaller one within the yellow lines. Let's dimension the sketch so it's 0.100 inches away from all sides of the 3D model. Click Finish Sketch. Now let's cut away some of the material using the second sketch we made. Click the Extrude button again. This time we will choose Cut instead of Join, and we'll use a distance of 0.0625 or 1/16 of an inch. Click on the smaller square sketch and you should see a preview of the material being removed. Click OK. Congratulations, you've now finished your first 3D model. Now let's export a file that the 3D printer can use. Click the large eye in the top left corner and choose Export CAD Format. Change the Save As type to STL files. Name the file, click Options, and make sure the units are in inches. Click OK and then click Save. You now have a file that can be imported into Makerbot's Makerware 3D printing application. Now we have open the Makerware 3D printing software. Before going any further, make sure you have calibrated the 3D printer. Refer to the Makerbot Replicator 2X calibration video if you need a guide on how to do this. Start by clicking the Add button. Navigate to the STL file you exported before and open it up. You'll now probably see a dialog box noting that the object needs to be scaled. Click Rescale Object. You should now see your model in 3D space in Makerware. It's important to flip the object in an orientation that makes the most sense for 3D printing. In this case, you want the largest flat surface touching the print build plate. To flip your part, click on it and select the Turn button twice, which will expand the menu. Click the Rotation button that gets your part oriented correctly. Then click the Lay Flat button to place it flat onto the build plate. Click on the Object button and change the color of the part to the color that you will be printing. It should match the 3D print filament that's on the back of the 3D printer. Click the Make button. Select the Make It Now option as the PC should be directly connected to the 3D printer. Leave the resolution at standard and only turn on the Supports option if there are areas in your model that are empty or hollow and need support as they print. In this example, there is no need for supports. Click Print and the printer will begin creating your 3D print.